So today is technically my 100th morning coffee with Tina, and I think we need a giveaway. So I'm going to be putting one together for the next video. So 101 will get a giveaway because I can't decide what to give you. But what I'm going to suggest is you put a comment below, and we'll do over the next two videos comments to go in line for prize for the 100th video. But I have to decide what it is, and I'll tell you tomorrow what it is, because I can't decide. If you guys have ideas of things that you would like as a giveaway, please do say so. Tweed is the first thing that comes to mind because we have loads of it. I could also, I also have some ryeberry fingering weight. That would be fun. Maybe I should do like a ryeberry sock knit kit. Is anybody interested in a ryeberry sock knit? But then crocheters, maybe I should give away two things, one for crocheters, one for knitters. Anyway, today's video is another cooking video because it's cold out. It's very cold. You got my messy patio behind you. It's very cold out. It was 36. It frosted last night because I will show you the garden in a minute. But there is stuff to still be gotten out of this garden. I have blooms on my zucchini still, but the leaves have definitely been hit with the frost. But there are carrots, and there are loads of beets, and my nasturtiums are super happy. I have one tomato I can pick. The cukes are done. And I know there are green beans across the garden, which is what's brought me out here. But I'm going to turn this around and show you. I also have squash from a neighbor. All right, here is the pour. Look at that. That got hit by the frost big time. And the basil is done for. I didn't do anything with it. I could have preserved it, but I didn't. But see the little tomato guy? And my carrots are right here. And I need carrots for stew. I need carrots for stew. So I'm going to harvest said carrots. Or harvest some of my carrots, because there are more. Oh, that one didn't grow very big. I pulled a giant one out of here last time, and I wish that I had filmed it for you because it was huge. But these guys aren't so huge. Let's see if one of these, part of it's my own doing. Oh, those guys got crowded. Tiny. Well, this was disappointing given what I got last time. Just tiny little carrots. Here, let's see if this guy produces. I see a... Oh, there, that looks promising. Let's go see if we got a big carrot off that guy. Gonna take you in. Oh, I have strawberry. Let's see if this guy, he looks promising right here. We'll put these down. See if we get a big carrot out of this one. Nope. More little carrots. Oh, here we go. Look at that. That's a good one. Looks like I'm gonna harvest all my carrots. There. Alright, that should be enough for our stew. I'm not going to put beets in the stew because that just doesn't sound super appetizing. I'll get this little cherry tomato that I don't even think I didn't even plant these tomatoes. These are all volunteers. But see the beets? There's my big crop of beets. I'm just having a hard time getting excited about beets this year. I don't know why. I have green tomatoes. I don't think they're going to make it. But we're going to walk across the lawn and grab some green beans. These are scarlet runner beans. And they taste fine. I waited too long to pick them the last time I cooked beans for dinner. So I'm going to try and get at these younger and fresher. So they taste more beany and less... or old bean. Oops. Because I'm going to put green beans in this stew. I do like a good stew with green beans. I did not carry a very good receptacle out. There, I think that's... Oh, we got a few up here. There. And then if you look over there, I have 2 acorn squash that came over the fence from the neighbor. And they look lovely, and they're probably about time to pick now that we've had this frost. Let me chop for the stew today. She's chopping up half an onion, She also is chopping up 1 orange bell pepper. We're gonna chop up carrots from the garden that I just picked with you, and I'm gonna turn around. Here's the interesting lineup of growth on my carrots. I don't know if, I'm gonna move these around for you from largest to smallest. I don't know if these carrots got the bunny poop and these carrots were overcrowded, or if these carrots were overcrowded and these carrots were not. But I do like the fact that these are nice, chunky, meaty carrots, and I'll probably keep growing them. And then I picked green beans. These are scarlet runner beans that I'm gonna chop up. I'm gonna throw that tomato in, but I'm also going to pull some frozen tomatoes out of the fridge. Because when I have a year where I have enough tomatoes to freeze them, I scald them, peel them, and just throw them as whole tomatoes into the freezer. And then they're super easy to do, and then you can use them as your sauces. I have 2 pounds of ground chuck, I think this is. Yeah, ground chuck stew meat that I'm gonna brown in here. So I have dumped my beef into the frying pan with some olive oil, 2-3 tablespoons, just enough to sort of coat the bottom of the pan. And I'm not flouring this as I would on a wheat life, just because we don't want the wheat in our soup. So I'm just going to brown this a bit to get some flavor into the pan. Let it heat up, brown it on medium. And Toni found us, instead of a bouillon cube, Toni found me a container of chicken broth. And I'm cool with that. It's chicken bone broth. I will use that instead of the beef broth or the vegetable bouillon cube. Back over to Toni in the chopping department. We have, and they can be decent sized chunks just like that, you're right.
Oh, okay.
I like rough chunks. Onions a little finer, because that'll go in sooner than later. But the peppers, totally, that's fine.
Okay.
And all the other veg are totally fine, rough chunk. Because it's stew. We're browning. And still more chopping. So you saw me chop up the green, or snap the green beans and take the string off, which it was a really not a strong string this time, so I got these at the right time. Supposed to do them early so that they're not so strong. Last time I picked them and they were a bit strong. And then my one little weenie tomato. And then over here in Toni's department, we're chopping potatoes. The onions are chopped. The peppers are chopped. We're going to crush up some garlic and the carrots. I'm going to go put in the onions right now to cook with the beef. I'm all about shortcuts in the kitchen, and so I don't own extra tools. I just use this big old knife and I pull my clove of garlic out, don't even peel it, give it a whack, and the garlic comes, or the peeling comes right off. You do have to touch the garlic. The peeling comes right off. Just peel that up, take that out of the pile, and you can chop up the rest, or just rough chop the rest. I got a little one out because I've already put 2 into the stew, so I didn't want to over garlicify it. Stick it on the knife and scrape it in your stew. And you have easy garlic additions to this. Alright, I am pouring chicken broth. I would have preferred beef broth, but chicken broth's fine. It's just, you want something more than just water. Although I gotta say, I cooked stew with water too. And I'm going to put this whole thing in. I have 2 pounds of beef in here. And I think having an entire container of broth is not uncalled for. This is going to cook all day. So I'm trying to figure out how many ounces this is. This is 32 ounces of bone broth, because that's just what we buy. We buy bone broth. And I'm going to deglaze this pan just by scrubbing. And this is chicken broth, but it looks like beef broth, doesn't it? And that's largely because I took the time to brown the meat first. So that's the reason you brown meat. Now, do you have to? I can tell you honestly that I have done this before and I didn't brown my meat. I was lazy, I chucked it all into the pot and I stuck it in the oven all day. So it'll work. This just gives you a little bit richer color. I do know of tricks, like I've heard people put coffee or cocoa powder into their stews. Guess you could do it. I just really don't. I just say suck it up if you don't like the color of your stew. Believe me, after cooking all day, it will be dark enough. It will definitely be dark enough. All right, I'm gonna chuck in the rest of the vegetables and just stick it in the oven for the rest of the day. It's now 11:39 a.m. This will be ready by dinner. I also wanted to add in, since Tony's asking me all the pertinent questions today, I don't peel my vegetables. Well, I don't peel carrots. These are fresh out of the garden. They do not have a tough skin. I may take my knife and give them a quick scrape around if I feel like the skin is at all tough, but I don't peel those. I buy yellow potatoes that have a fairly thin skin. I don't peel those either. I just chop them up. And there are two reasons why. One, I'm lazy. Two, all the nutrients, or the biggest concentration of nutrients of your vegetables, is right under the skin. And when you peel stuff, you reduce the nutrients by a bit. So I just figure, you know, if I have an excuse to be lazy, why not go for it?
Pieces of garlic.
Oh, the garlic went flying. All right, the stew is cooking on the stove, but I'm not going to let it continue on the stove because I'm, again, lazy. So this will now get a lid on it, and it's going to go into the oven at 250 degrees for the rest of the day until dinner time. Now, this is a super heavy pot. This is not my favorite Le Creuset, but this is the big batch pot. And, like, look at the label. It's all so messy. It needs a good scrub. Yeah, this is the big pot that I can barely lift, that takes 2 hands. So this is, if you are going to invest in a Le Creuset, this is not the one I recommend. I think this is the 4 quart. The 1.5 quart is my favorite because it's easier to lift. It is now 4:30. We've been in the oven at 250 degrees since 11:30 a.m. And we could eat it now, but I'm gonna let it take the lid off and let it cook for another hour and a half so that some of the liquid evaporates, so that it's more stewy and less soupy. Also, turn the temperature in the oven up to 300. So 6 o'clock, we'll have dinner. We'll have stew. So we're about half an hour away from dinner. Temp's still up at 300. I'm going to chop up some mushrooms and add them at the last minute. And then just sit tight for the half an hour and pull it out 10 minutes before we eat, and then we'll be ready to eat. The mushrooms should soak up some of this water, what liquid's left, and we're now like a half an hour since I took the lid off and turned the temp up a bit. We're simmering quite nicely. Nice and mushroomy. My husband is a mushroom hound. He loves his mushrooms.